Welcome back to New Mexico Entertainment Television, where you continue to be in the know with all things events and entertainment in New Mexico. I'm Teresa Robinson, and on this month's episode, we will be covering topics from our May issue, which is our entertainment issue. On this month's episode, we have Doug Montoya with the Box Performance Space and Improv Theater, Artistic Director Daniel Phillips of Music and Angel Fire, Creative Director Gracie Meier of the Exodus Ensemble, Magician and Professional Weirdo Jordan Jonas, our Community Question, Entertainment History, and our Music Minute featuring Clark Andrew Libbey and Christian Rad. So, let's get started. The Box has been offering entertainment for 17 years, providing everything from children's theater to improv. Tonight, owner Doug Montoya will discuss its beginnings, recent changes, and upcoming events. Thanks, Doug, for joining me tonight to talk more about the Box. And the most I know about the Box is improv. But right. I know you guys have evolved into a lot more than that. So I want to start by, which is probably an open-ended question, but we're going to see how this goes, is the history of the Box. How did it begin to get to where it is now?
Well, the history of the Box, really quick. It's been around for about 17 years. We started off as a children's theater. I'm the co-artistic director along with my partner, Kristen. We are the co-artistic directors of Cardboard Playhouse Theater Company. So then we needed a venue, so we opened the Box. And we did a few children's shows here and there. And then I have an improv background and had some friends that did improv. And there was a need for an improv theater because the improv theater in town had closed. And so we're like, well, let's just start inviting the improvisers over. That went along for a while. Fast forward, the children's programming outgrew the Box. So, which is 50 seats, and now we will basically rent venues. So we're renting like Rhodey and Chemo and Hispanic Cultural Center because we need that many seats now for our programming. But the improv was growing exponentially, at the same rate. So we decided, you know what, let's remove all of our children's programming. Let's just focus on improv. And that's what we've been doing for the past, maybe 11, 12 years, because that's how long our show has been running. Amply named the show. That's so clever.
Simple enough.
Right. So that's been running every Friday and Saturday. Even during the pandemic, we went digital or online streaming. And I think it's safe to say 11 years, 12 years, that show has been running. Probably the longest running show in Albuquerque.
Wow. So right now there was a big change that happened over this past week. Dry Heat Comedy is now in your venue.
Yes.
So how is you explained it's also renting, like, how you do a Rhodey, you go and rent.
Yes.
So is it the same concept that we're looking at here?
It's more of a partnership with Dry Heat. We're so excited. We've been friends with Sarah, and then we got Kelly as part of the grouping. So that was really great. At some point, we were just renting the facility. We were leasing it, the Box, and then the lobby, and there was another space next door. They decided they were going to sell the building, so we, as a company, decided that we would buy the building.
Wow!
So now we had an extra space, and it was perfect for a stand-up. Perfect. But we were such great friends with Sarah and Callie. We're like, well, we're not going to do any stand-up programming in here. So we were doing like cabarets and those kind of things because we wanted Sarah and Kelly's venture to get as much momentum as it could.
That's awesome.
So it would shift all of our stand-up requests to them. And then, yes, it happened. They said, we want to move in. We said, yes, we've been waiting for you. So we are so happy to have Dry Heat Comedy Club.
So
as part of the Box now.
You still have the improv. Now you have the stand-up comedy. What else does the future hold at the Box?
Well, we are still going to be doing a little bit of programming in the annex because that's where Dry Heat is. We do have this fabulous cabaret called Alma's AAA Cabaret. It's a very incredible variety show, and we're offering that every second Saturday, and that's when we're that's when we try to take the block and make it into like Albuquerque's comedy corner. So what we're trying to do for Second Saturday is what First Friday does for visual arts. We're trying to make Second Saturday be that for performing arts.
Wonderful.
And comedy, specializing in comedy. So our next one will be May the 11th, second Saturday in May. We're going to have buskers out on the corner. We have a food truck. We have Hollow Spirits in the lobby. And then we have open mic in the annex, improv in the box, and then we come back to the annex late night for the cabaret.
Oh, goodness, a whole night.
It's a good time. Man, it's a a good time. Yeah.
So where can people learn more about the box, everybody that's involved, and what's coming up?
Theboxabq.com. And then you can probably see us on Instagram, I'm sure, right? And
on all that
Facebook.
Social media stuff.
I'm sure we're on Facebook. I think we're on Snapchat. I'm sure we are. I don't know why we wouldn't be. But we're like on all those social media platforms.
Well, we will share that with our audience. And thank you, Doug, for joining me tonight and sharing more about the box. And
thanks for having us.
We're looking forward towards everything that you're going to be doing over this next year.
We're excited. We're excited to be there. So
wonderful.
Great. All right.
We'll be back. Music from Angel Fire is back with its 41st season. The organization looks to inspire its communities and visitors through world-class music performances and educational engagement programs. We're glad to have the artistic director, Daniel Phillips, to tell us more. Thank you, Daniel, for joining us this evening to talk more about music at from Angel Fire. So I wanted to begin by asking where the inspiration came from to create this event.
Well, before the incarnation of music from Angel Fire that's existing now, there was about 10 years it went through various contemporary music festivals, orchestral and chamber festivals, but it did build a sort of audience and donor base that people really wanted to hear music in the area. So the music from Angel Fire started with Ida Avafian, who was one of our greatest violinists and one of my oldest friends. So she's the one who started it in the form that we have it, which is a small group of musicians getting together to play great music and in the kind of a summer camp kind of atmosphere for us, and super high quality.
I like that you mentioned it was one of your friends that kind of kicked it off. Is that part of what makes it special? What are some of the elements that make this particular event special?
Yeah, well, when she ran it for 35 years, and basically it was the chance to get her friends together, musician friends, and have fun. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of was a family thing with not much turnover. Usually like the same gang plus a few newcomers. And when my wife and I took it over, we're kind of keeping the same thing. There's a core group of people who've been coming to it from the beginning, or almost from the beginning. My wife and I have been coming for, by now, 30 years or something.
Wow.
So it was dear to us. We always thought of it as the most fun festival that we ever do. So it's basically sort of an old gang that some of the older concert goers, audience members will recognize. And then we mix in with some new people every year, especially this year when we took it over, that we've been changing the pianists every year.
Well, I was going to ask if anybody's ever broken through that circle of friends to take part that might not be a part of the original set. So who will we be hearing from during this session?
From the old timers, it's Toby Apple, the violist, and who also narrates on our funny salon concert. Benny Kim, one of our old favorite violinist friends, is returning. New people will be Kathleen McIntosh from Santa Fe. She's a great harpsichordist. And we're going to have a lot of Baroque music again this year, which we've enjoyed in the past.
Wonderful. Well, I wanted to take a moment to step to the educational side of the organization. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Ida's original thought, she brought out groups of her favorite students from the Curtis Institute of Music, which, if you don't know, is like the elite conservatory for music in this country, or if not the world. And so she brought them out and then sent them to many schools in the northern New Mexico area and had them give little concerts, demonstrations.
Oh, wow.
And engage with children who would really have no access to classical music or classical musicians. And it's been enormously successful. And the kids have written in with such great enthusiasm. And the young artists who go out and do the outreach, they have like an amazing time.
When does the new session of music from Angel Fire begin, and where can people learn more about it?
It starts on the August 16th, and it goes through the 29th. We have a very nice user-friendly website at simply musicfromangelfire.org. Musicfromangelfire.org, with no spaces or capitals or anything.
Wonderful. Well, Daniel, thank you again for joining us tonight and sharing a little bit more about music from Angel Fire, and we look forward to it.
Yeah, us too. Us too.
We'll be back.
That you dream of once in a long time, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dream of, dreams really do.
Created during one of the most isolating times in our country's history, the Exodus Ensemble, comprised of 13 members from throughout the United States, joined forces and moved to Santa Fe to dream and create. The ensemble has produced some of the most immersive experiences, changing the face of theater. Tonight we talk with creative director Gracie Meier about their origin story, repertory style, and upcoming performances.
Thank you, Gracie, for coming down from Santa Fe to join us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you here. I learned about your group back in 2021, and we were still going through the bouts of COVID, so we weren't even interviews or anything at that time. So I kept you guys on the back burner. I knew there'd be a moment that I get to talk about Exodus. So you guys started in a really inspiring way. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the founding ensemble of the Exodus Ensemble, there's about 10 of us, give or take. We all met at the theater school at DePaul University over the course of like 4 or 5 different years, different classes. So we'd all worked with each other in different degrees, graduated, went out, started having really cool careers in TV and film and theaters all over the world, Netflix, HBO, Quibi, rest in peace Quibi. We had a lot of really cool, exciting prospects. And then, of course, the pandemic happened, everything shut down, and we just tried to wait it out for a long time. And then our artistic director, April, her partner, got a job at St. John's College, which brought them back to Santa Fe. She went here for her undergrad. And it was on that drive down that she realized, oh, my favorite actors are all out of work. I could get them in the same room. I could never do that before. And so she sent an elaborate email with a lot of pictures and a lot of different fonts, and basically just said, I don't know where we're gonna live. I don't know what it looks like, but do you wanna move to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and see if we like working with each other and see if we could create something? And 10 of us were just like, okay, great. And we just packed up all of our stuff and we moved in. There were about, 10 of us in 3 joint casitas. So I lived in the living room for a little bit there. A little 6 foot by 20 foot plot. But we spent 3 months in total quarantine, really just getting to know each other and working out of the house that we lived in, because it was at the time illegal for groups of 5, larger than 5, to be outside even in Santa Fe. So as a group of 9, 10, we were like, okay, we're making house shows, and then that really, that sort of created our entire genre, and the way that we work really came out of that necessity of having to be in our house and that being the only place we could afford to rehearse.
Well, having 10 personalities, how do you even begin to develop and create a show with 10 different minds? How did you go through the process?
That's a great question. A lot of the process is based in what's called composition. It's actually based on a dance technique that was created by Anne Bogart and Tina Landau called viewpoints. So we just make lots of tiny little compositions where different ensemble members get their chance at directing things, at acting in things. Maybe they're running tech on a particular composition. And so we just do that a couple hundred times based on the same source text. And that's how we create our shows. So it's a lot of like big puzzles and a lot of paint on the wall is sort of what we call it. And then we sort of narrow in from there. So there's always different moments for little ideas to just sort of come together and, oh, that was me and him did that, or, oh, I did that with somebody else, or that one was all me. And all of that just gets wrapped into the show. So it's a really cool collaborative process that becomes very non-hierarchical because of its sort of pursuit towards the show. It's like whatever's best for the show, that's what gets done.
Well, you developed quite a few shows. So can you tell us about the ones that you created over that time?
Yeah, absolutely. So our first project is called Ivanov. It's an adaptation of a Chekhov play of the same title. And that one is an 8-person audience. It's a roving adaptation. That was our first one that we created. Oh, wow. And so that one takes you through a house. You're in bedrooms, you're in bathrooms, you're confiding in these characters. They're confiding in you. It's incredibly conversational in the way that it works. And so by the end of it, you're incredibly attached to these characters and attached to your fellow audience members. It's a really special experience where they get to also just, become a character in and of themselves. That's our first piece. And then we have Bathsheba, which is our second piece, which is based on the David and Bathsheba story in the Bible. That one's really fun. The audience shows up in all white. The cast is in all white. You are actually let in blindfolded. So that one is super sensory heavy.
Oh, yeah.
And then it turns out you are actually implicated, and now you are inducted into this cult. And then stuff starts to happen, and you can't leave. And it's sort of our play on a psychological thriller slasher type moment. So that one's really fun as well. That one seats about like 25. We have one called Jason, which is an adaptation of Medea. It's our stab at the Greeks, and that one takes place in this sort of glittery, gritty Los Angeles music scene. You're surrounded in 360 degrees of television monitors and projectors for that one. So it's super media saturated. And in that one, the audience sort of serves as the Greek chorus. So you're shouting along with everybody else at certain moments in the show, which is really, really exciting for a lot of folks. We have Death Cookie, which is our collaboration with Sky Railway.
Yeah, that's one I would like.
Yeah, that's the silly one. I like that one a lot. That one's a murder mystery that takes place on a moving train. Very exciting, very heady. Like cool science meets like almost slapstick comedy. So that one's a delight. We have Zero, which is based on The Adding Machine, which is this existential play. And it's very competitive. We have 4 different cast members essentially, and you get to play for those cast members, and everyone will die except for one person. So throughout the show, there are opportunities for you to win points in order to save your character. So I'm going to say something that I haven't said out loud yet, which is great. So we're premiering our next piece, which is Hamlet, which is our big stab at Shakespeare.
Wow.
So it's sort of been our white whale, where we were terrified of it. And so I think that was all the more reason to try our hand at adapting it. So we're really excited about that. That'll open on May 8th.
Wonderful. And that answered my question of what you had coming up. So where can people learn more about the ensemble and what you have coming up?
Yeah, so we're all over the place. Best place to find us is on the internet, www.exodusensemble.com. I recommend signing up for our mailing list. We really try to keep a lot of dialogue and a lot of information coming to folks on the mailing list, so that's a great place to be. Social media, of course, at the Exodus Ensemble. We're a pretty rowdy Instagram for a company, so we have a lot of fun, and yeah, it's a good time. So we'd love to have more folks there.
Wonderful. Well, Gracie, thank you again for coming in tonight and talking about the ensemble, and really looking forward to what you have coming up.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We'll be back.
Jordan Jonas, the professional weirdo, is his own brand of magician and mentalist, weaving elements of supernatural abilities, sideshow stunts, and storytelling into an experience that will leave you haunted long after the show is over. We're happy to have him on the show tonight to talk about how he got started and what to expect in the future.
Thank you, Jordan, for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So I want to start with what drew you to magic.
Well, I was never good at anything else.
Oh,
for
honesty.
the most part.
Okay.
And magic was always kind of seemed like the black sheep of entertainment. And I wanted to be a musician. Clearly committed to that bit, but I found magic. David Blaine. I saw his first street magic special, and that's what attracted me to doing it in the first place. And his character and demeanor and the reactions that he got from people, that's what really got me into it in the first place, and it just kind of stuck.
Goodness, how old were you when you...
In vampire years, I don't know. I would say like 5 or 6 years old. I've been doing this for 22 years, roughly.
Wow. So it's a love.
It is a love.
Yeah.
Well, there's some hate. There's some hate in there. At points, there's been some hate and depression and other things, but it's always something I think about it when I go to bed, first thing when I wake up, and definitely an addiction.
So explain where the professional weirdo comes in.
To the best of my knowledge, it was an inebriated gentleman, either at a bar or at a house party. I wasn't much better myself, but he approached me after seeing, because I used to open up for bands at bars and stuff, and he came up to me and he was like, "Man, you're like a professional weirdo." And it stuck with me, and I think that's where it originally came from, to the best of my memory.
But so what do you feel is your uniqueness when it comes to you and other magicians that are out there?
I wouldn't qualify it as being unique, but I guess a lot of the magic that I perform is very occulty, kind of macabre or dark. I'm not the first magician to have spooky vibes or a spooky persona. But I would say if I had to narrow it down, that's what would make it stand out a little bit.
Well, you're ours in New Mexico.
There's that too.
So where can we see you perform next?
I'm doing a tattoo convention in Ruidoso coming up in June. So I think it's the 15th through the 17th that weekend, the Ruidoso Tattoo Expo.
Very cool. And where can people learn more about you, your art, and where they can find you?
It's going to be my website, jordan-jonas.com, social media, Jordan Jonas 13 on Instagram, Jordan Jonas 13 on Facebook.
Wonderful. Well, Jordan, thank you again for coming in and talking with us this evening.
Thank you very much.
And we will, absolutely. And we look forward to what you're going to be bringing this year.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll be back.
This is your New Mexico Entertainment in 60. Rise and Vibes is a 3-day roots and reggae music and camping festival giving you laid-back riverside musical adventures in a welcoming community. Rise and Vibes takes place from May 10th through the 12th at Tico Time Warner Resort in Aztec. The New Mexico Heritage Celebration is a vibrant showcase of top New Mexico Spanish music artists and dance groups. Get ready for a day filled with culture, music, and community spirit. New Mexico Heritage Celebration takes place on May 18th at Civic Plaza in Albuquerque. The Tequila and Margarita Festival is back, featuring Stoney LaRue in his encore performance. The night includes tequila samplings, specialty margaritas, and delicious food. The Tequila and Margarita Festival takes place on May 25th at Ruidoso Downs in Ruidoso. This has been your New Mexico Entertainment in 60. For more events and entertainment, visit nmentertains.com.
Okay, Jordan, before you are out of here, we got to see a trick.
Okay.
We got to see what it is.
You're
that you
really
do.
forcing my
Yeah,
arm.
yeah,
You're forcing
twist
my
it,
arm.
twist
Okay,
it.
you're really twisting it. Okay. So just something straightforward, something simple, nothing too complicated.
Okay.
Your cliche,
Pick a card?
go ahead and I don't want to say it, but
I did.
show it around. And it's very important, and I'm trying not to look at the
don't look at
thing. It's very important. Right now, you are going to remember this moment.
Okay, I'm 48, so remembering. Okay, now I remember.
Well, we're going to come back to it quick. So the moment that you were holding onto your card and when these cards were fanned out like this, okay? So go ahead, place it back for me, okay? And we're just going to go ahead and shuffle her in, lose it. Completely, just kind of making a mess. But we're going to make things even messier because normally when you see people shuffle, they shuffle like that.
Yes.
That's kind of boring for me. And I shuffle a little bit differently. So I take some of the cards, I turn them face up, I turn some face down, face up, face down, face up. It's mass hysteria, dogs and cats living together. It's absolute, it's chaos, it's pandemonium. Okay?
Got it.
So it's one thing to say that they're all mixed up, but it's another thing to show you. So you can see we have some that are face down, some that are face up, face down, face up, face up. I'm sure that even somewhere in here we have some that are, they're face to face, okay? So how long do you think it would take me to reorganize the pack back to normal?
How long?
Yeah, how long?
I give it about a minute.
A minute. You're giving me too much credit. Way too much credit. Now, it would have been easier if I would have never shuffled them that way in the first place. Almost if we could go back in time before I shuffled them like that, that would be the preferred method.
Yeah.
Did I get lucky? Was this 2 of spades that ended up on top, was that yours?
That was not my card.
Okay, well, it's fine. Hold out your hand like this for me and just hold on to the corner and wave it over the rest of the pack. Just like that. Do you know what that just did?
Put it all back in.
Absolutely nothing. No, actually it did what you just said. Look, every single card in the deck goes back to normal. Every single one is now sorted out, is face down. And we're back to that moment that I asked you to remember when the cards were like this and when you were still holding on to your card, which was...
The Queen of Diamonds.
Flip it over.
Oh, shit. Hold it up. It wasn't. Wow, that's. Ooh. See, this is why I can't handle magic. Okay.
And that's that.
All right. We're good. We're good.
Cut the tape. Cut it.
Thank you for joining us for this month's episode of New Mexico Entertainment Television, where you continue to be in the know. Join us next month as we talk about topics from our June issue, which is our Pride issue. Have a good night.
For more events and entertainment, visit edmentertains.com.